Welcome to the San Clemente Podcast, the only local podcast in the best beach town in the world. We're here to bring you weekly episodes highlighting everything from sports, culture, entertainment, politics, and everything else this place has to offer. Welcome to the San Clemente Podcast, the fastest growing podcast in all Orange County, California. My co-host Brian De La Puente and I have a very special guest on today, a local legend here in San Clemente, California, someone that's been an inspiration to us and a lot of the community here, involved in many arenas from the surf industry to real estate and lots of other things. So we're very excited to have Greg Cruse on. Greg, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Good to see you guys.
So yeah, Brian and I, we've been talking for about a year now, and we've done some podcasts here and there, but we've really been inspired through your story and other stories. And we're excited to talk to you, and I guess no topics, are off the table here. And I guess we could start off with when you came to San Clemente and where you came from.
Yeah, okay. I came here in 1987, and I was leasing a home in downtown Huntington Beach. It was a 1913 Craftsman bungalow, and it was all we could get at the time. And it had shag carpeting with dog crap and stuff in it, and fleas jumping up to our waists, and the roof was sagging and leaking, and it was a mess. But the owner leased it to Robin and me. And about a year later, they called and said, this is like in 1984. And they said, hey, we're getting, we need to go to Japan. My husband's in the service and we're going to sell it. And the real estate market was really soft then. And it's like, well, what do you want? And they're like, $167,000. And it's like, oh man, well, I just started another business and it's doing great. And I'll probably be in a position to buy in a couple of years. And so I offered a lease option. It's like, let's do a lease option. We'll set the price. I'll give you $500 more a month than I'm paying in rent now. We can put that on what's called like a down payment fund. And I'll re-roof it. I'll refinish the floors. I'll fix the garage. I'll paint it. I'll do all that. And if I can't exercise my option within 2 years, you guys get it back and you keep all the money and you get a fixed house back.
Yeah.
So we went to work on all that. And then after about a year, the real estate started going nuts. And the place, someone told me, it's like, hey, this place is worth like $300,000. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like you have that much equity now, you can go get a loan.
Yeah.
So I went and got a loan and I bought it. And then a year later, they started doing all the redevelopment downtown Huntington Beach. And they were, it's still nice down there, but they ripped the soul kind of out of it. I grew up in Huntington Beach and knew everyone on Main Street and all the old shops and the old pier. And it just, the redevelopment just kind of sort of ruined it for us. And so Gary Ward and Jeff Kelly from Sanook had moved down here Jeff moved into Veracruz and Gary was building in Cypress Cove. And so we're coming down here visiting and it's like, shoot, this is nice down here. Yeah. And the left at Lowers, we used to come down and surf the right during big south swells because Huntington would just be a closeout. And after the big storm, I think, 85 or something like that, or 86, the cobblestone got rearranged and the left was just as good as the right. And people weren't even sniffing at it.
Yeah.
So Gary and I would line up shoulder to shoulder and split the peak, and he'd go right and I'd go left. And it's like, I'm moving here.
I'm in. Sign me up.
Sold. But it sounds like you had that entrepreneurial spirit even back then.
Yeah, no, I've never had a job, frankly. Yep. I've always had my own gig and, made my own way through life. And some things worked out really well and some things not so much.
Exactly. But that's life. That's life. Exactly. So from Huntington Beach, moved down here. Was that in 87?
87, yeah.
Okay.
We sold that house. We had multiple offers and $400,000. And sold it to the guy who said that, he loved what we did to the bungalow, and he was just going to tear down the garage in the back and build 2 garages with an apartment above it, but he was going to leave the front house. And it's like, okay, this guy's going to keep it. It was on what was considered 2.5 lots downtown Huntington Beach, and it predated the oil boom, so you didn't have any capped oil wells on the property, gotcha. Which was a $35,000 hit if you tried to develop a lot and you found an oil well. So sold it for $400,000, came down here with over $200,000 in my pocket, and didn't know San Clemente that well. I wish I spent more time. I wish I used a realtor, Plug for realtors.
Yeah.
Sure. But ended up buying a lot up in Misty Ridge, and was looking at the lot lines and stuff. And there was a back corner of the lot that was part of my flat lot, but it belonged to the property up the hill where, it was like terraced landscape, and then this little flat corner that was probably about an extra 2,000, not 2,000, maybe 1,500 square feet on the lot. And it's like, well, that should be part of my lot. Why isn't that?
Right.
So I went to the city, and they said, oh, well, you could do a lot line adjustment, but you have to get the owner to sign off on it. And I went around the corner and talked to the guy, and it's like, hey, do you see that little patch of dirt down there? It's like, yeah. I said, did you know that belonged to you? He's like, no. And it's like, do you want it? And he's like, no. And it's like,
all yours.
Will you sign it over to me? He's like, sure. So we did a lot line adjusted and added like 1/8 of an acre to the lot.
Wow.
But then went through all the process of getting the plans done, was going to build this 4,000 square foot mega mansion. My business was taken off as publisher's rep. And 1989, I'm at the El Dorado Bank ready to sign my construction loan, and just had the spidey sense that maybe it's not a good time to like put yourself out to the limit. What if something happens, changes the market? And sure enough, the next decade, real estate was really slow. But we traded the lot and the plans with the permit for a house that was already constructed in Cypress Cove through a spec builder there, and got a beautiful home in Cypress Cove, raised my kids. You knew all my kids, and you lived in the Cove, and you were nearby.
Yep.
And it was a idyllic time. I mean, real estate was tough and interest rates were high, but we could afford what we were in, and
You're a lot closer to that left.
it was cool. Yeah. And there I had access to the left.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say for people that don't understand, right? Cypress Cove on the coast versus Misty Ridge, both beautiful areas, right?
Right.
But for someone that loves to surf, being on the beach close to lowers, I mean, priceless.
Yeah. Oh, and coming from Huntington Beach, which is flat, north, south, east, west, access streets, block walls, it's like there's no views really, And so when I came to San Clemente, it's like, oh, hills, ocean view. And it's like, I want to go to the very top of the hill and have the best ocean view. But then after driving back and forth, it's like, I really want to be by the beach. And I'm glad we did. It was awesome.
And was that just a straight trade? Is that how that worked with the building?
No, it was, I think the lot and the plans were worth about $250. So that was like the down payment. And then I financed like $4 or something like that.
Still amazing though, just to touch briefly on again what you did in Huntington Beach and how you got into your house with, the down payment, basically just creativity at its finest.
Right.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, you figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but
the will to do that. So when you did the trade, then that was in 1989.
Correct.
Moved into Southwest San Clemente Cypress Cove in 89 too?
Yes, December 89. Mm-hmm. I was just 30 years old. So
best feeling, right? Moving down there.
No, it was cool. But there were a lot of vacant lots, a lot of spec houses that didn't get finished, and some people lost their butts during that time.
And then how long were you in that area or that house for?
I stayed there until 2000, and my publisher's rep business was taken off with all the .com stuff going on, and I was making really good money. Brian's dad, Bobby, thought I was a drug dealer. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
This guy's surfing all the time.
He's going on all these trips, buying new houses. What the heck?
What's he doing? Who were you publishing for?
Well, I was a rep, so I worked for, it's funny, you have Dirk Ziff that owns the WSL. So his dad had a publishing company called Ziff Davis that had computer magazines for users and stuff. And I worked on a couple of his magazines and sold space, but it was mainly business to business, high tech stuff. And I got to call on Larry Ellison at Oracle right when Oracle was taken off. I got to call on Steve Jobs when he was with Next Computer in between his Apple gigs. I helped launch a magazine called Federal Computer Week when the federal government could start buying PCs by departments instead of having centralized like people that bought mini computers and stuff. And so Texas was my territory, and I taught Michael Dell from Dell Computer how to sell to the federal government, and he ended up just making billions of dollars selling Dell computers to the federal government. So it was, it was a good time, and launched a bunch of websites. A lot of the magazines were trying to figure out the internet and how to monetize that and how to share their content both in print and online. So I helped facilitate a lot of that and started a website with a bunch of security nerds called securityfocus.com, and that did really well. And so it was interesting.
Were you still running your the publishing company?
Yeah, that was my publishing.
So that was okay.
Yeah.
That was
so
all.
I represented other publishers. I was basically their West Coast sales office, but I was valued because I thought outside the box and hustled and presented
absolutely.
things and found
And so that was from 89 to 2000.
Yeah, I had my publisher's rep business until 2010.
Okay.
But the late 90s and the early aughts were a very good time.
Yeah, absolutely. At what point did you start to move into the surf industry?
Well, Chloe, my youngest, started surfing. She was playing soccer, and she's pretty athletic, and she could have been good at just about anything she did. And so I'm sitting on the sidelines of the soccer fields, like, we live by the beach, but I have to go sit on the sidelines of the soccer field. So
still hear a lot of parents talking about that, right?
It's what you do, right? And so then her and Shannon Ward, there was these Roxy contests that they held at San Onofre right after Roxy started, and all the Miller girls, Kalani and Hannah and Olima Miller, were all the Roxy girls that they used to promote the brand when they were little girls. And, they're all San Clemente. And so they signed up for this San Onofre contest, and I'd take them down there every night to practice, and she got like third in her first event down there, and so they give you a little plastic trophy, and it's like plastic crack,
Yeah, right.
Like at that point.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, yeah.
So she did another one on her shortboard in April of the next year, and I think she got second in that. So she was all in. And so I'm looking for opportunities for her to surf as a 12-year-old girl. And NSSA, which has been around forever and has a great program, but they were 18 and under for women. That was the youngest division. They had a bunch of boys divisions, but they didn't have girls divisions. And WSA, which is based in town, Western Surfing Association, Mary Lou Drummy and Midget Smith was the judge. I've known Mary Lou because I was kind of team dad for Capistrano Valley High School because my nephew went there with Mark Lindblad and another local guy whose kids are doing really well surfing, and Shane Stoneman, another great surfer, like U.S. champ. But anyways, her son, Chris, was on the team at Capo Valley High. So I knew Chris, and I knew what Mary Lou was doing, and I surfed WSA a couple of events when I lived in Huntington Beach as a kid. I wasn't very good, but
surfed them nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
You gave it your
was
best
fun.
shot. Yeah.
Made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And so I tried to find information about WSA. I know there's still events. Where are they? Nothing online. And I finally got a phone number, and you call, and there was a recording saying, leave your address and we'll send you a membership package, and then 2 weeks later I got this literally mimeographed package from the WSA and filled it out and sent it all in, and it was super confusing. And we went to a first event at Topanga, and the waves were smoking. Topanga Point. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And Midget Smith there, who was a ASP head judge at the time, it's like, wow, they got Midget Smith. It's like they got great judging panels, they got a great location, but it was not really organized, right? So up until that point, if your parents surfed, you probably surfed. But if your parents didn't surf, you probably didn't surf. You were probably playing soccer or what have you. And it was it just kind of struck me that, hey, if I didn't have a surfing background, I wouldn't even mess with this. If my kids said they wanted to surf in a contest and I came down and saw how disorganized this was, it's like, that would be it, one and done, So I called Mary Lou up after that and said, hey, I have a marketing background. Let me sit down with you and put together a plan for you, because what you have is really good. You have good judging, you have good locations, you have good people that are in it for the right reasons. It's a good family supportive vibe to the whole thing, but let me help you, And so she hadn't taken a paycheck in 2 years, and all the industry support had gone to NSSA. And so she's like, well, everyone says they'll help, but no one does anything. And I go, no, if I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. So I put together a marketing plan for her. It's like, I'm going to do all these things. I kind of need carte blanche, and I won't spend any money that's not coming out of my own pocket or that comes from sponsors that I bring in. And so she was really open to it. And we brought a bunch of parents on board on the board of directors. So it wasn't just a one-man show, but we had people that were stakeholders. They wanted to see their kids have good programs. Randy Nickel, I don't know if you know him, but he was on our board. Randy Gilkerson, Andrew Swain. So we brought in some good people. And just kind of went through the whole program. I started just fun, family-oriented, professionally run, fair surf competitions, and had T-shirts and hired a graphic artist. She had a T-shirt at her West Coast Championships where she took a little JPEG of their logo and blew it up, and it was all pixelated. And it's like, did anyone check the art before you sent it out? It'd be kind of cool now.
Yeah,
because, it'd be like retro the old video game thing. But, so I hired Alicia Hansen, whose son is in tunnel vision. And I had her design our first shirt for Salt Creek, and it said, I surf Creek with only 5 guys out, and then Surf WSA. That was great. Everybody loved it. Everybody wore it. The best advertising ever. I put together online registration. I put together a website for them. I went to all the magazines, and they wanted to help, and they offered a free subscription to the magazine to all the members, and Surfline offered a 1-year thing. And so pretty soon it went from 100 kids or people involved to 600, and we're running double areas both days on the weekend, and they were just really well run, great fun events. Continuing to this day, I'm still on the board.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how I got involved in surf, and then at the same time, Chloe was on the Shorecliff surf team.
Gotcha.
And there's this great lady who'd been the coach for years and had the Gadauskas brothers on the team and did really good with it. Tanya Patrick, fantastic woman. And, but at the time she had 2 kids in close succession, one after another. She was training for a marathon, and she was studying to get her master's degree. So that's the kind of lady she was.
Exactly.
She's just
going on.
Dynamic woman. But Bernie Wolfarth was helping with the team as well. And so I volunteered because we had to pick the team for every event. So all the kids, whoever was surfing well, the kids that could kind of rotate and have an opportunity. And so Randy Gilkerson and I got started sort of running most of it. I mean, we were just trying to help and jump in where we were needed, but kind of took over. That wasn't the intent, but that's what happened, you know? And I got a bunch of sponsors, and we all got the team swim codes for all the kids, and it turned into a really cool thing, and we won 2 national championships while we were there. And Kalohe Andino was a 6th grader on the team, the last year I left.
Yeah.
And anyways, so that kind of led me down another path to try to help him have the opportunity that he needed to take his skill as far as he could. I'm talking too much.
No. This is it. No such thing. This is why I love podcasts. It's a long form content. Keep talking. Exactly. Yeah. So Kalohe Andino then he was
6th grade.
6th grade.
Right. And
so you wanted
he was
to help.
Already a prodigy.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to Dino on the beach all the time, and there's the father-son, coach, son thing and dynamic going on. And he was smart enough at the time to get Mike Parsons to help with the coaching. And, but talking to him about, here's this 7th grader at the time who's got sponsor obligations and travel obligations. And the NSSA made you do 10 events to be able to go to the West Coast Championships and to make nationals. And he's like, there's no way that Kalohe can do all those events,
Right.
He just can't do it. And it's like he wins them all and it's against all the same kids. And so we're going to go to Hawaii, and because Hawaii NSSA only makes you do 5 events, right? And so it's like, wow, that's kind of extreme. They traveled. They were spent a lot of time on the North Shore, so he just figured out a way to be able to do the events in Hawaii to qualify for nationals here.
Gotcha. By doing 5 events, yeah.
Right. And then also working with Courtney Conlog and talking to her mom and what she had to go through. And then I was at a Christmas party in 2008 at Gary Ward's house. And I'm talking to Tom Gudauskas. His boys won NSSA Nationals, and they're starting their pro surfing careers. It's like, hey, how the kids doing? Oh, it's been hard for them, actually. They're used to surfing 6-man, 15-minute heats to NSSA judging, and they were the best kids. And now they're in the pro ranks, and these guys are scrapping like their lives depend on it. And it's the ASP judging criteria, and it's 20-minute heats and 4-man heats. It's like relearning to surf. It's been an adjustment for them. And at the time, there'd just been hardly any kids from the United States making it onto the CT or the World Tour. I mean, Brett Simpson at the time was the youngest, and Nate Yeomans, I think, qualified and then got cut at the mid-year along with Patrick. I mean, so it's like, gosh, what's wrong, man? We used to just be this stronghold dominating, So I put together this, I just woke up in the middle of the night and just like, we got to do pro contests for junior kids. So I started this thing called Prime, and we did it under WSA. And we went to Pizza Port and we invited all the best kids in the state. And it's like, you kids have been selected because you're the highest ranked WSA and NSSA kids. We're going to do 6 events on the West Coast. We have Craig Hoshida, who's the ASB judge, North America head judge. We're going to have 4-man 20-minute heats. We're going to be at the best locations: Malibu, Uppers, DMJs, Hunting Beach Pier, Steamer Lane. And, you're going to have opportunity to surf the same judging criteria, 20-minute 4-man heats against the best kids. And, hopefully that'll help people get to where they need. And it took off. It was a huge success. And,
So what's the biggest difference from the different setup in heats? Like, what changes? From a 15 to a 15, is it just more competitive with the 6 guys in the water?
Yeah, with 6 guys in the water scrambling to get 2 good scoreable waves in 15 minutes, it's, you tend to just take scraps and just
like more
paddle for
frantic.
anything, and it's frenzied and frantic. Okay. And it's completely different from 4-man 20-minute heats. I mean, your strategy, you can't wait, you can't, And then when the ASP started doing priority, we started priority.
Gotcha.
So our kids, when we went to 2017 ISA World Juniors in Japan, our kids were the only ones that had surfed regularly with priority.
Wow.
And they smoked everybody. Yeah.
So a springboard to the pro tour.
Right.
Yeah. A farm league, essentially. A way to practice in this format.
Yeah. So, you take the kids that show the promise and you put them in the scenario where they're basically surfing in the same
very cool
setup that they're going to be.
And now they've got that pathway, right?
Yeah.
Because the Gudauskas brothers, they were amazing surfers. Do you think
They
it would be?
still are.
They still are, right? Do you think it would be different though had they grown up in today's surfing culture, coming up through what you had built?
Well, they had all the talent in the world, and I'm not going to say. I mean, things are different now than it was then, and it might have helped them out. But the thing about the Gudauskas brothers is that they were early on to self-promoting and social media and doing their own deals, and that's like a better, more lucrative track than
Surfing.
pro surfing
Yeah, I mean,
in a lot
'cause-
of instances.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
So, they probably wouldn't have gone that route. And the other thing is Tom and Nancy are both realtors, and they made those kids save their money when they won it.
Buy
And
real estate.
They were buying real estate
Yeah.
in 2010, 2011
Yep.
when no one wanted it.
Yep.
And so they're all doing really well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have no regrets. I'm sure Pat still stings from getting knocked off at the cutoff, but
Yeah.
what a great life he has now.
Oh, the best. Yeah.
And he gets to do what he wants. And Vans has been super supportive of them as well. So
And they're very marketable, right?
Yeah.
Likable, good looking. They're just marketable.
Yeah.
But I think to young surfers now, they should take a page out of that book and know, right? Yes,
Right.
surfing
No,
is surfing, marketing yourself, promoting yourself. I mean,
They're ambassadors now.
they're ambassadors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that big Positive Vibe Warriors
Yeah.
surfboard drive,
and
and
that's taken off.
they're bringing hundreds of surfboards to these underprivileged places that have good waves.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see the effect of those places. Like, oh my God, these guys have had decent equipment for 3 years now, and you're seeing people start to produce and perform and kind of be in the conversation, which is super cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And surfing is so selfish. Like I've been on boat trips to Indonesia, and I'd leave boards to local groms. Right. It's gonna cost me so much money to ship them back. It's like here, or something got dinged or broken or fin broke out or something. And boat captains saying, "Don't give them boards. They're going to be clogging up the lineup." And it's like, oh, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't really get it.
You're like,
It's like,
here I am trying to do something good.
yeah,
Clog lineup is lower at
right.
8 a.m.
No. So yeah, would it have been different? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But they did great, and they've been able to showcase themselves better than they would if they were confined to like a strict competition.
So you
thing.
built this platform for these kids to not only have a place to go surf and compete.
Right.
Now they have this trajectory, this line to. It's a blueprint, right, to get to this top. So then, how does that turn into you at the Olympics and getting the Olympics into surfing into the Olympics? How does that happen?
Okay, so Fernando and Gary, who lives in La Jolla in Huntington Beach, I knew him back in 1984. Him and his brother Santiago started Reef Brazil, Reef Sandals, and they dry fit their first trade show booth for the ASR show in my backyard.
Oh, no way.
In 1984, right?
Oh, what a
So I've known Fernando for a long time. So him and his brother both sold the business and made a ton of money. And Fernando dedicated his life to getting surfing in the Olympics. Like literally spent his own money, his own time, put tens of thousands of hours into it. He was that, he speaks multiple languages. He's super memorable, charismatic guy. And so he was able to go into the Olympic world, into the IOC and work it,
Cool.
And so he got the attention and he's the one that got it in the sport. Cool. But then once he got it in the Olympics, then it's up to each individual nation to figure out how they're going to field their teams and what organizations are going to be the national governing body.
Gotcha.
So I started Prime. I gifted it to Surfing America, which was the national governing body at the time, so that it could go to the East Coast and it could be NSSA could qualify their kids into it, and the ESA could qualify their kids into it. And I ran the program for the country, and then the board of Surfing America asked me to become the CEO. This is in 2011, and so my media business was tanking as everything, print media was drying up, and so I took the opportunity and ran with it. And then in 2016, they announced that surfing was in the Olympics, and so we went to the U.S. Olympic Committee. Me and Andrea Swain and Kevin Dean from DSC down here in the surf ghetto, and looked at what we needed to do to become the NGB, and basically we were trying to stick a square peg in a round hole with the way we were set up governance-wise and stuff. And so we ended up starting a new nonprofit called USA Surfing that fit their template of how they wanted NGBs to be set up and
Gotcha.
with governance and all that. And so we got our NGB status from the U.S. Olympic Committee in 2017 and announced it at the U.S. Championships.
What does NJB stand for?
A national governing body. So we became the organization within the USA that would field the Olympic team.
Gotcha.
Fascinating.
So cool.
Yeah.
So that was the process to get the IOC. That was the U.S.'s governing body that reported to the IOC.
Correct. Right? Yeah. So you have the International Olympic Committee. Within the International Olympic Committee, each sport has their international federation. So surfing is the International Surfing Association. And then once your sport's in the Olympic, then the International Surfing Association selects governing bodies within each country that represent them. But then when it becomes an Olympic sport, then the IOC has their national governing bodies, and in the United States, that's the U.S. Olympic Committee.
Okay.
So we had to pass muster with the U.S. Olympic Committee, even though we'd already done it with the International Surfing Association.
So in terms of fielding a team, was that USA Surfing's, like, is that go straight through you? How does that work?
So the ISA figures out, the International Surfing Association figured out the criteria for how they're going to award slots into the Olympics.
Gotcha.
So they were given 20 men and 20 women. Okay. That's it. Even though that's an odd number, you'd want 16 or 24 to do heats properly and stuff. And Fernando went to the IOC and said, hey, yeah, we need 24, we can't do it. And it's like, well, we can cut it to 16. And they're like, no, we'll work with 20. In Chopu in Tahiti in 2024, it's going to be up to 24 people now because they proved their
point.
Yeah. So, so once they establish that there's going to be 20 and 20, then the ISA says, here's how we're going to award those slots. So they want the most countries possible to be represented. And at the time, the WSL, the World Surf League, only had 8 countries represented.
Gotcha. So
the ISA had like 100 nation members, and 70 of them would show up for the ISA World Surf Games. So it was a combination of the WSL ratings. I think it was 10 of the men and 8 of the women for Tokyo came from the WSL, and then the balance came from the ISA World Surf Games.
Gotcha.
So other nations had an opportunity.
Awesome. Very cool.
How cool of an experience, right?
Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah, I got to spend a lot of time going to Japan. We had a remote athletes area because we were a good hour and a half from Tokyo, from the athletes village. So, and with traffic and stuff, there was no way. So I went out early. A guy who used to be on the U.S. gymnastics team came out, and he was working with the U.S. Olympic Committee, and he lived in Japan, and he was used to work for a financial services company. He just got bored, midlife
crisis. Yeah, exactly.
He started surfing again and doing yoga, and gave up his job, and he came out and he's like, oh, you guys have to get out there. There's nothing there. It's really rural. It's going to be really hard to find good accommodations for the team. And so he dragged us out there and showed me the lay of the land and helped us get this pension third place, which was our host. It was kind of like a bed and breakfast sort of setup.
Cool experience, yeah.
But it was amazing. There's nothing out there. And we were really worried that, you have a team and you're responsible for them, but then you have big sponsors like Red Bull and, Hurley that want to come out to the Olympics and want to do promotional things with their athletes or think that they can provide better services for them, like Red Bull, who's really good at that. They were going to have their big athlete training center there and stuff, and it's like, wow, I'm responsible for these people. And the Olympics is serious.
Yeah.
So I mean, you go back to Munich Olympics, where they were, the Israeli team
For sure.
members were assassinated. So they're very serious about.
Yeah, that's crazy. So was Red Bull then not allowed?
Well, no, they were allowed, but then, and I was worried about it because I was responsible, and we only get one U.S. special agent assigned to us to kind of look out for us and stuff, and they want us to keep everyone in the house and no visitors and all that. But we have all these outside people like, no, he's got a contract. He needs to come here and do this
For promotional,
Red Bull or for Hurley or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, this is gonna be hard.
How do they honor? Does say in Hurley, just for sake of conversation, if you're a Hurley athlete and you go to the Olympics, what is the response? Does the Olympics deal with private companies?
No, not unless you're a sponsor. Like they can't. They could wear their own board shorts, but they could only have like a 10 square centimeter logo on their board short.
Strict.
Yeah, and as the national governing body, I could have said no. We did a deal with Nike. You all have to wear Nike, but I didn't want to do that. And the ISA said, well, that's their trunks and rash guards and things that's performance apparel. And you really should let the athletes wear what they want. Boards for them as well, but they couldn't have their logos on it.
So like something, I mean, this is like in football, if I had a different pair of socks or a different I would get all weird, right?
Right.
If you're surfing and you see the stickers on your board in a certain pattern, I'm sure they're OCD about that in some level.
Yeah.
And it just looks different.
They wouldn't allow the checkerboard. Like for Vans sponsored athletes, they would not allow a checkerboard.
This is the Olympics.
This is the Olympics, and they have a board check,
Right.
and the board manufacturers they could put their logo on it, but it had to be a certain size and shape, and it could only be on one side of the board, and they checked all that stuff.
Yeah, that's tricky to navigate through those waters.
So fins, you could only have like 5-10 centimeters.
I mean, so all the athletes had to get super custom stuff. Because fins, I mean, if you're Futures or FCS, whatever,
you can't have a big F on the side of them. Yeah,
wild.
Yeah,
I know with football,
That's insane.
guys there was NFL had a guy that was out there in warmups, and you would get a warning, and then if you didn't change or adhere to policy or whatever, you got fined.
With some guys, just take the fine.
So we played. I remember we played on Christmas one day or one year, and a couple of the guys spatted their cleats red and green. Right. This guy's
just silly.
Silly. Just do it in warm-ups, take it off. Right. They're like, no, man, this is prime time. We're gonna look cool.
Yeah.
But $5,000 later, okay, I hope it was worth it. But those kind of things, you had to show 50% sock had to be the team color and white. If like a Nike athlete, you had to, unless you had an injury, you couldn't spat because they wanted to see Nike. There was all these types of rules, and the NFL, especially because it used to be Reebok and then I went to Nike. You had to say I had a knee brace. My knee was jacked up and it was a Don Joy brace. I had to black it out, cover up all the logos. And you would get fined if you didn't.
Yeah. These companies, they pay a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
To be, marketing and to be promoting their
It's
logo.
frustrating for those companies because it's different.
Yeah.
But I guess in a certain breath, it's not different.
Leading up to the contest, how far in advance were you in Japan prior to the actual contest itself?
Well, it ended up being 4 years, but I thought it would be 3 because it was delayed a year by COVID. So I spent a lot of time there, and we worked with this guy, Jatamori, great guy, who was the guy who was from Tokyo, the gymnast. And they came up with this host city program to kind of spread the Olympic movement throughout the islands of Japan. And cities could volunteer to host sports and pay for their training camps and stuff like that. And, so it kind of spread it out. It was a cool concept. And John was really like on top of getting surfing and a bunch of other sports host cities. And so we did a deal with Makinahara, Japan, and Shimoda, which is a beautiful town. It's like Laguna Beach. It's like It's like I tell everyone, it's like San Clemente's the best place to live in the world, but second best would be Shimoda, Japan.
Really?
It's
Yeah, because I don't
amazing.
even really know what to picture, right? When you think about Japan.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's like good healthcare. It's clean.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I heard.
safe. The food's amazing. The waves are good. The water's warm. It's transportation is great. People are friendly.
wow.
It's just, but I'd be kind of isolated out there
Yeah.
without my 6 grandkids.
So,
So
exactly.
I'm not going. But
So 4 years before the actual contest, and then how often are you flying out there?
every few months, like I was meeting with mayors of Makinahara and Shimoda, with this developer out there who was trying to build a wave pool in Makinahara in advance of the Olympics, for not to use for the Olympics but for training. And funny sidebar is the WSL was saying that they were building a Kelly Slater wave pool, and that was going to be the Olympic venue because the waves weren't going to be good there. And they bought a bunch of land and stuff, and I'm out there talking to developers and people with money that are interested in building wave pools, and I know how the local organizing committee over there works, and it's like, no, there's no way there's going to be a Kelly Slater wave pool. And I was like the bad guy for pointing out the obvious.
But it was a hard no. Like,
Yeah, no, there's no way they could have pulled it off. If they had started maybe a year earlier, they might have been able to pull it off. But even all that property they bought, they weren't allowed to change the zoning.
so what did they do with that property now?
They sold it all.
They sold it
Yeah,
off.
they probably made money on it. But anyways, but so Makinahara was planning a wave pool, and so I was working with the guy Jack Surfboards there, and trying to connect him with American Wave Machines, who did the Waco pool, and had to pull strings through COVID to get their engineers in there, because I had made all these contacts within the government there, so able to get their engineers in there to get it finished. And they finished it a couple weeks before we hosted our training camp there.
So they did end up building one.
Yeah, they built. It's about the same as the Waco wave pool.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. Except it's a little different.
And this was all for like just for training.
Well, they wanted to ride the interest in surfing that they knew the Olympics was going to generate. So he wasn't that concerned about having it done before or not. But like with any project, if you have hard deadlines you give people, they tend to get done. Where otherwise things just Japanese are really good about getting stuff done on time, but through COVID and stuff, it was an issue. But
they wanted to ride the wave, so to speak, right? Of like the attention and the
So I
excitement
had
around
John
it,
Florence, who Kramer just did knee surgery on, and Warren Kramer, who's another local, Cypress Shores.
Yep.
And Chloe Andino had his high ankle sprain that he had just had surgery on, and they're both in braces, and they were ready to go, but they were still tentative, and they didn't want to re-injure it. You know what that's like.
Sure.
And so we had Warren Kramer there with us, and at the Olympics, and they got to practice in the wave pool. And so it's a controlled environment. They could wear their braces in there. It's fresh water.
Sure.
And by the end of our training in the wave pool, they both had their braces off and were surfing almost at 100%. And they closed the beach for us, which is right across the street.
That's cool.
And let us train in the ocean waves as well. So it was funny.
So they had a wave pool near right next to the ocean, basically.
Right.
I gotta see
Makinahara.
this.
You got to go there. Makinahara is
amazing.
amazing. They grow all the green tea there. There's strawberries, or their melons and strawberries are like next level, man. It's like you'll never eat another one you buy here after eating the strawberries in Makinahara.
So is the wave pool then, is it still in existence and running as an operation and a business? I wonder how that's doing. Like, is it flourishing?
It's doing really well. They have it kind of shoehorned into a tight area, and they got some complaints from neighbors on the vibration and the noise. So they don't run it at 100% where we were, where it was basically a 4-foot barrel, and different from Waco, which kind of goes from the center and goes to the right, or goes from the center, goes to the left. They can run a wave from the far end all the way across. So it's like 100-yard barrel wave if you want. That's the pro setting.
And they have they can have the options to do different settings on
Yeah.
it. That's killer.
So Evan Geiselman was our DJ up in the booth, designing the waves and running the
so
waves.
cool.
How long did it take him to build it, like from start to finish?
From from breaking ground to finish, like about 2 years through
That's
COVID.
not that long.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard to get stuff in there.
Sure.
There's big pumps and all that crap, but they got it done.
Kind of being immersed in the surf culture of like California, the United States. What is the surf culture like in Japan and in these other countries, like having the stage of the Olympics to get to know all these different athletes? Like, how would you compare the other countries to the U.S.?
Japan has a really neat, fun surf culture there. I mean, they love surfing. They love everything about it. It's been popular there since the 80s and into the 90s. It's really cool. I mean, you feel like you're home. It's like when you're a surfer and you travel to different parts of the world, surfers are surfers.
Right.
The main difference is they're gear junkies, right? So they'll have like little mats and tubs and hangers for their wetsuits and all that stuff. They go for all that stuff, but that was really the only difference.
Okay.
They're all into surfing the same, as they're into it when the swell. They follow the forecasts and they're all on it early and
Very cool.
It's very cool parking lot vibe there. There's some
awesome.
really good surfers there too.
What's the weather like, and the water temperature? Is it?
Well, it's a big country, so it's like the West Coast, and so you get into the northern areas and it's pretty cold, and down to the south and Hyuga and it's tropical, So Makinahara is kind of in the central, so it's similar to California. It gets a little bit warmer in the summer. Surgasaki, which is where the Olympics were, but it's cold in the winter there. So
how good was having the Olympics for the economy over there? Like, did it make a massive impact?
The problem was COVID, right? So there's actually like a lot of people post Olympics feel like it costs too much, and especially coming out of a COVID economy and stuff, like they didn't make money on the deal. But it's
kind of tough, right? Not like a
lot of it's travel, right? You have a lot of people come in to visit and support, and
they didn't have that. I mean, they canceled all the flights and
yeah. So really, just not a fair way to really assess the actual. Yeah, it's hard to judge it. Yeah.
So then, as the athletes, COVID,
right?
How are you guys? How does that affect the actual competition?
They had no spectators. You had to test daily for COVID. They highly recommended that you were vaccinated. Right. And, I know we had some athletes that weren't. But from the USOPC standpoint, they were, for me, it was like basically not a choice. Right. And, I wasn't happy about that, but I didn't want to be the guy that got COVID and ruined everyone's Olympics.
For sure.
So, it was tough. And Japan is already, if you have a cold in Japan, you wear a mask. I mean, just as a courtesy to people around you.
Isn't that so weird, though, that's like what was...
That's just their part of their
right.
culture.
I mean, and I get that. I mean, you don't want kids sneezing on you and crap, I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
But man, they all, were very... It's an obedient society, and they all, when they had all the mask mandates and
everyone follows,
and literally, like, we had a wing of the hotel that was between the wave pool and the beach, and they would bring our meals and set them out on tables in the room, and then knock on your door when your food was there. You couldn't go into a communal eating thing or anything. If you were out of your room, you had to have your mask on. We had to have separate shuttle buses that only we were on to go down to the beach, even though it was literally a 100-yard walk to the beach. We had to take a shuttle bus, and they let us off in this area that was all, partitioned off from the locals.
Oh, wild experience.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I mean, they did a good job of managing it. I mean, most of the teams, none of the other teams got to practice in Japan.
Gotcha.
Because if you went to the event site, you weren't allowed to practice until like the day before the event waiting period.
So no spectators, were there coaches?
Yeah, you had a limited staff, like coaches, like supposedly all of our credentialed people there, so all of our support staff were supposed to be able to go to the beach, but then they limited who could go. So I had Warren Kramer down there, and I had Dr. Michael Gervais, who used to be the Seattle Seahawks sports psych, and he was down there with us, and they wouldn't let him in. They wouldn't let him go down to the beach. So Dr. Gervais has like these Jedi mind tricks.
Sure.
Like he was able to get in for some reason, and Kramer got shut down every time. So Gervais was on the beach with us the whole time.
It was easy to get down there.
But yeah, no, it was tough. And for the athletes, and especially they're used to traveling with their coach or their parent or their wife or husband or what have you. And it was weird, and it was difficult, for everyone to kind of keep together. But
I can only imagine.
We had such a great setup where I had jacuzzi, send a jacuzzi there and a shipping container. Yeah. The owner of the house we were at turned the shipping container into a pizza kitchen.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. We had it like all dialed in. We had a full like Quonset hut like training facility in there that was all air conditioned, and games and ping pong and all kinds of fun stuff. So we really bonded as a team and a group. Yeah. So it was cool from that standpoint, but it was hard for the athletes to like not be with their usual support crew and stuff. So
which athletes were you in charge of?
I wasn't in charge, but we had 4 athletes. We had Carissa Moore and Caroline Marks, local, who's going to be in the WSL finals here coming up. And we had Chloe Andino, local, and John Florence.
I'm curious a little bit about what's their like training regimen like, and do they have a nutritionist that's there helping them?
Yeah. So the difference between surfing and other sports, like the USOPC wanted us, everyone's got to go to Colorado Springs to the training center and get evaluated, and we want to put them on these training regimens and do their diet and all that. And it's like, you don't understand. These guys are multi-million-dollar athletes. They already have all those people doing that for them, or their sponsors like Red Bull have people doing that for you. They're not going to get much. Not to put you guys down or anything. It's like,
they're already doing
like world-class stuff.
They're already doing that and
more.
More.
Yeah. And it's like there's some superstition involved too. I've been working with this guy, and since I've been working with him, I've been winning. I don't want to change my program. Right. Even if what someone else could do might be better, who knows? Right. So that was a hard thing to get across to the USOPC, and they had these, things like, oh, well, you can't control your athletes. You don't have a. I go, no, I know all these kids. I've worked with them for years. I totally understand where they're coming from, and I support what they're doing because I see what they do. Yeah. They are world-class athletes.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry they don't want to go to Colorado Springs.
Yeah. They're just not going. Yeah. How far in advance before the contest did you guys all get there?
Kind of a funny thing. So what happened with the USOPC and COVID, we had a satellite facility, right, where our athletes were going to be. Well, the local organizing committee in Japan said, well, it has to be COVID certified. We need to send inspectors out there to make sure that, it's, you guys keep it clean and on. And I'm relying on the U.S. Olympic Committee to do it. And it's like getting later and later. Have you gotten our COVID certification yet? What's going on? And John Amori, who's my guy in Japan, was like, no, they haven't done anything, And so finally this edict comes down like, yeah, we're going to have to find you a hotel room. You guys aren't going to be able to stay at the pension third place, the place we got completely dialed in. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not staying at a hotel an hour away and doing this. And it's like, you guys don't speak for us anymore. Okay. I'm going to take care of it. So I actually worked the government connections that I made and got someone out to come and inspect. And we actually passed with flying colors because we had our own kitchen that we had refurbished and renovated in there. And we were completely self-contained. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a perfect setup for COVID. Yeah. I had no idea when we did it, but it ended up being fortuitous. Yeah. So, and then sailing had their own satellite village and actually got them approved as well from internally. I mean, it sounds, but it's like, I got a nickname called Tenacious G, right? It's like, don't tell me
Don't
no.
tell you no. So break walls down. As an athlete though, like what are they doing to prepare themselves?
Well, we had Chloe and John just trying to get healthy, right? You know, they worked it backwards, and Kramer's like, no, you know, you guys will be good for the Olympics, but do it now. Don't, you know. And so all their physical therapy and everything leading up to it, from the date of their surgery to when the Olympics was, they had it all mapped out, and they were all ahead of the curve on it. So those guys had a unique situation. Carissa took the year off from the CT to train for the Olympics. So she was on the program for the whole year.
That's rad.
Yeah. And then Caroline, she was still on the CT, and I think she had a good year too. I forget what she did in it was a COVID year, so it was a weird year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, she was just doing her usual thing. I think she was working with Snips quite a bit, another local. And
look at all these local people. Yeah. I mean, how many?
It's wild.
Yeah. So so she was working with him, and but they were all at the top of their game, ready to go when it came down to it.
Did you work a lot with the WSL then, or?
Yeah, quite a bit. Like I got them to realize that I'm their farm team.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
it's like I'm hiring all your judges for all these junior events. You know, and I'm the one that. I keep saying I, me. I'm really not that egotistical.
No, we know that. Trust me. Yeah.
But there was always a dearth of good judges, you know, and there was no program to train them. It was the same guys up there doing it, and of course they want to limit the number of new judges because it's job security for them, right? And so through the WSA we would let people judge, and we started this Scholastic Surf Series for school competition as part of WSA. So we get people involved judging there, and then they move up to WSA, then they move up to Prime, and then they do QS juniors and stuff. Sure. And another local girl, Tori Gilkerson, who's a world longboard champion, she was judging the Scholastic Surf Series, and then the WSA, and then Prime, and it's like she was really good, you know. So she jumped to the QS and WSL CT events, and she was a judge in the Olympics.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
Pretty heavy.
It's got to be hard to be a judge, right? Especially now with there's just a lot of
just
controversy.
To not put bias in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, surfing's a hard sport, right?
Sure.
It's
very dynamic, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, it's not
judgment
like
calls, right?
You got the ball over the line, you know, it's a touchdown or it's totally subjective. And it's, if you look at other subjective sports like gymnastics, there's a ton of training that the Olympic judges have to do. They have a panel of 10 people. You know what country they're from. Right. You know, they throw out the top two and the bottom two scores, and you know, like the Russian judges are throwing the, you know, whatever. Totally. I mean, it's all, you see it, right? In surfing, you don't know who's up there judging.
Right.
There's a guy that wanders back and forth called the head judge, who's kind of steering. And I understand what they do, and the ones that are good are super important at getting people on track, because, you know, someone could just throw out a wild score, and it's like, okay, look at Blue's last wave. What did you give them? Oh, I give them a 5. Well, was this wave better or worse than Blue's? Oh, it was better. Well, you give them a 4.
Right.
And you said it was better than that 5. So was that 5 overscored, or was the 4 underscored?
Right.
And, you know, help them kind of adjust to stay on the thing. But that adds subjectivity to it. You know, in my mind, they should be, you know, have blinders on and have headphones so they can't hear the announcers or hear what anyone else is saying. Yeah. They need their own replay at their desk so they can go back and forth and look at things again, and they throw their score without knowing what the others do, and whatever it is, you know. And if someone's not within the range or is off, you know, then you can look at the metrics and say, hey, you know what, you're all over the map, you know?
Yeah. But how many judges are there? So for the WSL finals that's coming up right now,
I think they have 7 judges, and they throw out the top and bottom, and might be 9 judges, and they throw out the top, 2 bottom.
That's a lot of judges.
Yeah, but I mean, they do the best that they can. It's hard.
It's so hard, but I always think that they do a pretty good job.
Yeah, they get it right.
Yep.
The majority of the time.
A majority. That's about all you can ask for, right?
And then it's like, that's my subjective opinion. Right. If I feel like they didn't
You're
get it
judging
right,
them.
so
Yeah,
who am I to
exactly.
say?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
But it's hard, and it's part of the sport, and it's hard. And so I understand why they kind of hide identities and stuff like that, because, I mean, you see what happens. The Brazilians are
They're
radical,
gnarly.
rabid,
Yeah.
you know?
They're
And
gnarly.
Griffin Colapinto,
Oh,
I mean, he had to be like Buddha, you know, to kind of calm everything down.
Sure.
And it's
yeah. He handled that like a champion,
he did
though.
really well. Yeah.
You think he's got a really good chance? I mean,
It's
yeah,
lower.
it's slow.
We'll see. Yeah, you know,
It's a
we'll
spot.
see.
Yeah.
He's going to have the hometown behind him. They're already bumping
Oh,
that up
yeah.
2%. And
Yeah.
Matt Biolis. And
Yeah.
basically had a patent speech online, you know. It's
Yeah.
Did Matt have
rally behind him.
who had a
Yeah.
patent? Matt did?
Matt did.
Yeah.
Let's get behind this kid. You know, show up at lowers. When they call it's on, leave school, leave work, get down there.
That's
How
awesome.
fun though for the surf community.
Oh
to have
my gosh. Yeah.
their golden boy in it. Like
Yep.
he's got to be stoked. He's locked in. He's at home. It's
Yeah.
going to be exciting. to
And
watch.
Griffin's like the first generation. So in WSA, right? Crosby was in the push-in division with Mitch pushing him in the WSA, right? But Griffin was already like beyond push-in. And then they're doing NSSA and doing really well. And both of them are in prime, doing really well. They're on U.S. teams, you know, that traveled to, I think Griffin was on the Panama team and Oceanside that was champion. You know, then they go on to the QS and do well. And,
Sure.
you know, now he's got a chance to be world champ, rated second
Yeah.
in
Kind
the
of
world.
set the path.
So,
That's insane.
you know,
That's
I'm not,
insane.
I mean, we put the process there and it's up to the kids to work hard and make it, but at least that platform is there, you know. And
Yeah.
Did you? This is kind of off topic, but the mural up on Del Mar.
yeah, there's 3 of them actually.
Was that you or?
It was,
I mean, I know you're not egotistical, but
no.
was that?
If it was me, my face would have been up there. No, it was, there was something with the city where they were looking for some mural stuff just for alleys and things like that. You know, they did the steel surfboards up at the top of of Del Mar there for a while. They all got vandalized, but so they were just looking for that. And Andrea Swain, who's on our board of directors at the time, saw something about that. She used to write for the SC Times as well. She was the editor there. And so she applied and they found three building owners that had big walls that wanted to do USA surfing murals.
That's so cool. I love it.
That's amazing.
It's so rad.
And I know the city was behind it too
Oh,
and
100%.
advocating for it.
For
I
sure.
mean, again, this is a huge event that's taking place in our city.
Yeah.
Promote it, advocate, help the businesses.
Yeah.
Super cool. And also, I wanted to ask. COVID made it no. When you're talking about, I carried Carissa after she won. I was like, oh yeah, there's 40 people that get to carry him.
there's
I
no one
found
on the
pictures. It's
beach.
you,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my goodness, like talk about that. That
All right. Well, I always stay in the background, right? I'm a facilitator. That's what I feel like. That's what I enjoy doing. And so I'm never up front, never the face of the brand, never do anything. And we're watching the Olympics and things are progressing. And when it became pretty clear that Chris is going to win it, it's like I had a flag in my backpack ready to pull out. I talked to Brett Simpson, the coach, and it's like, Brett, you take her left side, I'll take her right side. Kevin Dean was there. I go, Kevin, you hold her board up behind you. And Justin Young, also a local videographer. I had him start shooting the Prime events like way back in 2009 because I knew content was king. So he always videoed and we provided all that content to all the surf sites and stuff. But so we got to take him to the Olympics and he was embedded as our videographer and photographer in our house. And then I got him credentials to be media for the Olympics. So he was there like shooting everything. And it's like, and I said, Justin, where should we be? Where should we like direct her? And he's like, bring her right up this alley here because that's where all the media is and that's where all the cameras will be. So we corralled her into that point, and then Kevin grabbed her board and we gave her the flag and made sure it was in the right direction. And we picked her up and it was like, that picture was everywhere. It was like pretty
so
cool,
cool.
crazy, but I'm stoked that,
That had to have been one of the most magical moments,
it was
right?
crazy. Yeah. Like the weight of that. I mean, Carissa didn't realize, like she was, it was heavy on her and Caroline got, gosh, she should have been a medalist, but she had a bad break. It was tough conditions. And then Kalohe and John went against each other like early on. And that was crazy. Like there was like only one scenario where they would meet in that round. And
that's what
it happened to happen that way.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my gosh, we got to get someone over the line here,
Yeah.
And when she won, it was crazy. And Dr. Gervais, the Japanese, they're all very organized and everything has to go according to schedule and stuff. And so they were ready to usher her into the media zone for interviews and stuff. And Dr. Gervais like, no, we need 5 minutes. And like we gathered as a team right before she went up the ramp into the media area. And we just he said, let's take 5 minutes. Let's soak this in.
Oh, it gives me chills.
Dang.
And it was amazing. And I'm
just to be that present.
Yeah, because she would have just been gone and the moment would have been over. But just to take it in and the enormity of what just happened. And
all this work and training. She took a year off.
Culminated in that. And it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. And 3 years before that, 4 years before that, you're, manifesting it, like putting it together.
Super.
Yeah. And to see that come to fruition is unbelievable.
Yeah. I came home and, everyone's watching it on TV and stuff. And my wife, Robin's like, was it worth it? And it's like, yeah, what do you mean? And it's like 14 years, 80-hour, weeks, we're working for peanuts, it's like, and it's like all the crap from all the parents and the USOPC, was it worth it? And I go, well, when you put it like that, yeah, it was. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
where do you see the surfing industry over the next 10 years going?
I don't really consider that there is a surf industry. I mean, I'm kind of the outsider. I mean, I'm an inside outer, I've never been part of the surf industry, quote unquote. I respect, companies that have made money in surfing. But I consider the board builders and the wetsuit makers and those kind of people to be the surf industry.
What about the surf culture? Like, do you see wave pools becoming more prolific and like
wave pools are the next thing, man. I mean, because you think about it, it's like I've done several trips to Indonesia and Samoa and Fiji, and you spend tens of thousands of dollars and travel for 30 plus hours, and sometimes you get skunked, or we pulled up to this break in Indonesia called Macaronis, and there's 50 other boats there already, and it's worse than lowers, right? With surfers. And it's like, here's this, 55-year-old man, I can't even get a wave there. And I spent all this time and money to get there. So wave pools, that's the next place. They're not going to replace surfing at all, but I mean, it's a nice treat, to go to a wave pool a couple times a year.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever surfed in one. I have in Waco, and I had the best time. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I think it hits so many more people, right? So like you just get there and you can get 20 waves and you're like, that was awesome.
And you're going to get them.
Yeah.
You're surfed out.
That was great.
And everyone's stoked.
Yeah.
No one's fighting for wave, right? Everyone out there.
All that egginess is gone.
Yeah.
It's like, I moved here to surf that left at Lowers, and I like owned it pretty much for a period. I mean, not owned it, but it's like, I got my waves, right?
Yeah.
And, people would paddle on my back or paddle in front of me, and I'd, take off standing on my board on their back, and then they didn't do it again,
Yeah.
But then I get older and you start losing a step and what have you. And then I'm coaching short cliffs and the kids are like, go, Mr. Cruse. And it's like, thanks, guys. But now it's like, I can't even paddle out there. I have to go to slowers, south of Lowers.
Yeah.
But you get all that egginess is gone. they're nice, and there's a lot of projects coming online, and there's going to be quite a few, and I think they'll all do really well as soon as they figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of been mad scientists that aren't really businessmen or understand hospitality doing it. The pioneers that get all the arrows in their back.
Sure. Streamline it.
Yeah, but
Get it
now
efficient.
there's people getting involved that know, how to do hospitality and how to set up so you have food and beverage that's making some money in
Sure.
addition to,
So
So
fun.
there's a lot of projects coming online. I'm working on something north of Mazatlan that's going to be amazing.
Oh, killer.
So,
You think we'll see one in Orange County?
we were working really closely with the group in San Juan Capistrano to Taylor Harrison and his group, or Tyler, excuse me, to try to get one in the orange groves there in San Juan Capistrano. And they had 10 people presenting on what they wanted to do for that area to make it like public recreation there. And they didn't make the top 3. So, but we had a endless surf wave pool scheduled there with a USA Surfing Training Center, and that bombed out. There's one scheduled for Oceanside, but I think that ran into some headwinds as well. And then the Chula Vista Training Center, the athlete training center that used to belong to the U.S. Olympic Committee, they were working on putting in a wave pool there, and that didn't happen. So there's a lot of, the Coral Mountain one in Palm Springs, they had that really far along, and they got shut down by the local community that just didn't want it there. So they probably spent $4 or $5 million just in, just in all the preliminary
Engineering
studies.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
I think one would do great here in San Clemente. I
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
Like, again,
Yeah.
I think that.
Put it out at Vista Hermosa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next to the miniature golf
next
course.
To the next to the miniature golf course. Yeah, well, there's a nice parcel of land up there just waiting to be developed, and that would be a great project.
No, wave pools are the equalizer, and it'll be a lot like golf. You know how golf was able to diversify by just giving opportunities to kids.
Sure.
All
Reach more
socioeconomic
Yeah,
things. Just come on out and learn how to play golf.
absolutely. Absolutely.
The same can happen for surf.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. So what's your plans for the WSL? Will you be on the beach or will you be streaming
Hard
it?
to say. It depends because they have the 7-day waiting period, right? And it only runs one day. So it's like I can't block out a whole week
Yeah.
at this point in my life. But,
Yeah.
hopefully it coincides when I have some time, and I'll be down there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cheering on Griffin and Caroline. And I'd love Katie Simmers. She's from Oceanside, but she's just been amazing. Like a savant,
Right.
It's like a 13-year-old girl that surfs like Tom Curran. How do you get that?
Just prodigy.
Yeah. And so the ISA World Surf Games that they have every year, the pros don't want to do it unless they have to do it for the Olympics, which is
Gotcha.
the case for 2022 and 2024. But other than that, it's like we go down the list of QS and everyone's like, I have to be gone for 2 weeks. There's no prize money. No. And so in 2017, we were in Japan, and we needed one more girl. And it's like, went through the whole QS thing, and it's like, how the heck with it? I'm taking Katie, It's like, I'm going to introduce her to the world at 13 years old.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting 9th place
At 13.
At 13 against all the pro women.
Wow.
And
They're-
because every other country mandates that their athletes have to surf if they want to be involved in the Olympic program at all. So all the top pros are there except for the U.S. ones.
Gotcha.
And that's fine. I mean, I get it. But Katie got 9th overall. She beat Sofia Milanovic, who's a 2-time world champion. And I'm like, Katie, you just beat a 2-time world champion. And it's like, what's her name?
Yeah,
I said,
she's-
Sofia Milanovic.
her-
It's like, when was she world champion? I said, 2004, 2005. And she's like, I wasn't even born yet.
Right. That's a trip. Yeah.
But so it'll be interesting to see how she does. Too.
Cool.
So
Yeah. That'll be fun to
it's
watch.
fun.
What advice do you have for these young kids coming up the ranks?
Just put in the work, put in the time. I mean, just look at the example that, people, Griffin's doing. I mean, that guy's doing Pilates and doing all kinds of mind work and journaling. And I mean, he's putting in the hours and the time. And, I mean, you're a professional athlete, and if it's what you want, you have to put in. You have to be dedicated to it. It's not going to be the old days. I used to have what I called the perversion of amateur surfing by the surf industry, because they would focus all their attention on the next kid that they determined to be the it kid, and that kid would feel like he'd made it already and didn't need to work that hard.
Sure.
And they would get ruined. And there's like, I could go through a whole list of athletes that were the it kids that ended up, not going anywhere because they were showered with attention and money and spreads and magazines and all that. And it's like, that ain't there anymore. One.
Right.
And two, it's like, if you're going to be an athlete, you have to act like an athlete.
Yeah.
And train.
Treat your body.
And your mind. And what you eat and how you think and how you compose yourself. And, it's social media is huge, and they need to be also cognizant of that and curating what they have online. I mean, they could do really well for themselves without even making it in the pro ranks, as long as along the journey you're finding like what's unique about you and what's interesting about you to other people, and curating that and getting that out there.
For sure.
You got to tell your story, right? You got to document it,
right,
and represent it. Yeah, it's a great era though, really, right? To be growing up in. Back in the days, you didn't have these outlets to tell your story, right?
No,
it was
to promote yourself.
You couldn't. Yeah, you didn't have the ability to promote yourself. Now you do.
No, you were scrambling like who you knew within your sponsors to get photos in the magazine. Right. And now it's like, I'm doing my own deal. I run my own show.
Yeah. So. Well, you hit the nail on the head too. And you were ahead of your time, right? You knew content was king.
Right.
It's everything.
Yeah. So I think
that was amazing.
The whole thing was, I've been a lifelong surfer since I was 11 years old. And I didn't get involved in the surf industry. I have a theory that surfers are either bums or entrepreneurs, right? Because you want to be able to adjust your schedule so you can surf when the waves are good, right? And so there's a lot of surfing entrepreneurs that did really well, and there's still guys surfing couches, but they're by the beach. And so it's all good. And but I went in, I did my marketing publishers rep thing, and kind of saw how big companies like Apple and Dell and Oracle and all those guys do, marketing and promotion and all that. And I was able to bring that into amateur surf competition, kind of like just clean slate, not prejudiced by the way things were or that they need to be, and not beholden to anyone, to bend what I thought was the right way to do things to fit what some other group thought was the right way. Yeah. And I didn't make all these decisions on my own, but surrounded, myself with people that were like-minded and good people with the right motivation. And so.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot, right? Yeah. Surround yourself with other like-minded people.
Right. I love listening to diversity of thought, I don't want yes men, but you want people that in their core, they're, they're pulling the same direction you are, so.
Absolutely.
Well, you've had your impact, and you continue to have it. You've laid the framework for these kids to really capitalize on their opportunities and their skills, and we're seeing it kind of in its mature. You see Griffin Colapinto kind of at the peak right now.
Yeah.
And he started from the bottom.
It's fun to watch, and it's like I hope I played a small part in that, but it's all on Griffin, because he's worked very, very hard, and he's a talented kid, and he's surrounded by good people, and so it's excited to see him do well.
If people want to follow you, where can they find you?
I'm huge_manatee on Instagram. So that's probably the best place I post there mostly.
I love it.
Love it.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. We
Oh,
really
thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Again, 80 minutes. That went fast.
Sure
that was
did.
great.
80
So
minutes.
good to see you guys
Awesome.
again.
Great to
Too.
see you
These
too,
guys
Greg.
are the Groms.
We are the Groms.
Now we've got the Groms.
Now we've got the Groms.
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Yep.
And you guys are giving back to the community. It's
Yep.
all part of community, man.
Yep. That's what it's about.
Do what you can.
Yep. Awesome, Greg. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you for listening in. Join us for another episode next week, coming to you from our studio on Del Mar in downtown San Clemente. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the San Clemente Podcast and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode.